Okay, so we're gonna paint one of my bags that I make. You can buy this online. I have a colored fabric on the back. The straps are already a different color, so only this piece is the piece we're gonna paint. There's plastic in between the two layers that's gonna protect it. And of course I was shaking my blue. So I always shake my paint and the lid was not closed, so I have blue all over the place. But I was very lucky because this is where the ocean is going to be. So it's a little dark, but we'll try and fix that. If that was like somewhere else, I would have maybe had a problem right now. So I always put it on some paper towels. This is like 3 of those half a sheets and 3. And then when you move your finger around, I take the paper towel to bring it down here if I want to paint up there or to take it up there. I move it on the paper towel because we do not want what happened here. You see one of those spots went there. So now the back of my fabric has a spot on that I might need to try and smooth out a little bit. Hopefully, because it's not set yet, that will help. And maybe I should take this spot out there. I'm just going to cut it out so it doesn't keep on lying on that piece. It's good. I can show you how to fix the messes. Okay, so I'm just going to put a different paper towel there. And now that spot would be a lot lighter because I tried to get it. You can even, like with your nails, just move it around so it's not a dark spot anymore. Okay. So I am first going to paint I usually first paint my background and then I paint my little objects, but I'm first going to paint my shoes and this shell because I want the water to kind of look like it's going over the flip-flop and the shell. So I am going to try and mix a little bit of I want almost like a orange pink, I don't know what you call it. It used to be a very popular nail polish a little while ago. So I am going to try and mix that color. I'm going to put it in a pot. So I want to see how much I use. A lot of red. I need the red to be lighter, but if I just mix these two, I'm going to get a pink. This is white. The bottle is almost empty, so it makes a fruit sound. I'm just lightening this color up. And you can see this is like almost like I would say a salmon color. I like this. Is a nice color for the beach. Can you see it's like a salmon pink? Maybe if we put a tint of yellow in, it will go a little bit more towards orange and less red. You can see I just put a tiny bit of yellow in. I don't want it to be too orangey. And we can do a little bit more yellow. Always start with less. Less is more. Because you can always add, but you can't take it out. This should take some of the redness away. So it looks more like the salmon color. I think that's what I'm gonna call this color, salmon color. Need a lot of salmon. Can you see it went more orange? Okay. I think this will be enough for the shoes and the shell. I don't want to use too many colors on here. I have a blue spot over there too. I will fix that as we paint because I'm going to put white dots on. Let's get a paintbrush. I brought everything but the paintbrushes. We need some fat ones. What else do we need? We need some smaller ones. Okay, we should not need more than this. Maybe down here, if we write the words, we might need more. This pattern is sublimated on, so I'm just going to use this brush, which is one of my favorite brushes, and I am just going to do the shoe. Wet my brush, take some of the water off. I like to paint with an angled brush, but you're just going to come around there. And then you're just going to work the paint in. Come around there. What color will we make this shell up here? This is still very pink. I would say it's almost like a neon pink. Might need some more yellow in to get it a little bit more like a salmon color. You just want a bright color, so you don't lose your flip-flops in the ocean. Okay, and you can see I did paint like where the soles are of the, like there's a double line, was a double line there. Just want to work the thickness so that it dries quicker. Okay, so now I am gonna add a tiny bit of blue. I'm just gonna do it from my lid. And I'm gonna use a little bit smaller brush. And I just want a little bit of blue, and I'm just gonna, yeah, where the soles are, I'm just gonna darken it a little bit. But you now they look a little thicker. So for the foam part of it, I am going to just use, I have this very pretty green. I don't have a lot of it left, but I'm just gonna make this that pretty green. I don't need a lot of paint, a few blobs. I'm still gonna use this brush. I need a paper towel to, sorry, just dry this. Dry the brush a little bit. usually if you put your paint a little bit away from the line, it's easier to work it up to the line. So there's like paint away from the line. So then I usually don't go over. I usually go a little bit away from the line and then I just work that up to the line. Now I've just put paint on the tip of the brush and then I just roll it to get that little half circle up there. So let's see if we take this color and a tiny bit of blue. It's going to make it more like a purple color. This is a pretty color actually. I'm going to put some white with it so it's a little lighter. I just want it to look a little different than the, it's still, I need more white, but I don't want to contaminate my white. So took the back of the brush. Just want to make little, see how I twirl the brush there so that it makes those little there's on my shells. I know they look a little weird now. We will come and shade them later on. And now I'm just going to put like white polka dots on my shoes. And I'm just going to use one of my thicker bottoms here. I'm going to put it in the white. And I have to start here where the spot is. So just going to put it in and then I swirl it as big as I want it. And then I just let that piece fill up. And we're just gonna keep on doing this. See how it, so I just need to make sure that piece falls up. Okay, now the same for here. They say if you make dots, you should think in three. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then if I put one here, 1, 2, it needs to go a little bigger. 3. we can wipe this one in the back. And you can just take some white paint these are too big. We're just going to close them up. Or we're just going to move the paint that we already have. So that you don't have like a definite circle like over there. We're just moving the paint around a little bit. Just closing those holes in the middle. Okay. And we can paint this one also. The shell over here. And I want to try and get it the same pink as that one. So I am going to take some of this out. I can just mix this color also because, oops. So I already painted my flip-flops. I'll just mix it with this stick. I'm not sure if I want it more orangey or more yellowish. I think I'm just going to keep it at pink. Don't fiddle too much. And I am just going to, I can use my bigger brush for this. I am just going to come in. Because the water is going to go over this one also a little bit. That's why I'm painting this one. And now I'm just going to try and, well, I'll shade it later on. Okay, so now I'm going to paint my sand. Okay, so I've put some white in the spot, and I'm going to take some of my brown that I've put here. And I'm just taking a tiny bit and I'm going to mix it into this. This white is very thick. And I just want a very light beigey color. Maybe just start with less, because it's always easier to take some stuff out. And because I know this white is gonna basically just lie on top, it will also dry a little darker than what you see here. This might be too much, but so I'm just making a very light brown here for my sand. Now maybe I'm going to add a little bit of this yellow brown also that I have here. Or you can add a pinch of yellow, just to make it a little bit more of a golden color. But you have to be careful that it doesn't go too yellow. I have to take my glasses off to see. It's almost the same color as what the fabric is, what the muslin is, just a darker version of it. You can just put a tint of, but I would say 1 drop of yellow at a time to mix this color. Okay. So I think that's the color I want. And now I'm just going to put some of my base with it. Now I have the the base that I use for to mix the fabric. So I take the base and I just put pigment with it. I know if I'm just going to use the white now, it's going to be far too plasticky and it's not going to feel soft because the white is opaque. So with the base, I'm going to put a lot in there. I want to show you this base. It looks white, but if you put it on your hand or somewhere, it disappears. It's almost like a lotion. So if you put the white there and you rub it, it goes away. So it's totally transparent. So I'm just putting that in there. So we're still going to get the color. If you use the base also with the other colors, it would make it a lighter color or a more transparent color. I think this is going to be a good color for my sand. So it's almost like, you can see, it's almost the same color as what I have here. I just don't want my sand to look dirty. So this is the color I'm going to use. Some of you might think, why even bother? But we are going to bother. So I'm just going to use a lot of water with it also. And when I paint over here, see, I'm trying to, I try and see that I get to the edge there. And I'm going to go up to here because some of the water is going to be like almost like see-through and you'll see the sand underneath. So the sand is going to come from here all the way there. We're just going to work it down. We're going to use a lot of water and a big brush so we don't spend the whole day here. And I will speed up the video so you don't have to spend the whole day here. Just make sure when you paint, you go over and over so you make sure your paint goes into the fibers everywhere. I'm just gonna make sure I have paint. Yeah, you can use a lot of water to just let your paint go into that fold there. And you can see I keep on dipping my paintbrush. And I'm just moving this paint around with a lot of water. The paint is water-based, so you can put water with your paint. It would make it more runny, and it would also make it so that more running and it will bleed easier. So if this was very wet, it would bleed into it. So you always have to be careful if you put too much water with your paint. can see I'm almost just painting with water. And I come down this edge, lift it up, make sure I get it on the edge there. You just want the water to like seep into that little seam that you've put there. So that's in the fabric. Using a lot of water would make this also a lot less plasticky. Make it feel a lot softer. Close this up. See, I still have a lot left. I have another beach project that I want to do, so I will use it for that. And now I am going to paint this one. Let's see. Let's try the bigger the brush. I still have a lot of paint over here. I'm just gonna try and use this. Just gonna come around. Okay, this starfish has like, I want it to look like it stands up a little bit. I am going to shade it a little bit. Let's see how much blue we have here. No, that's not enough. Close it before you shake it. I want more like a purple color. So I am just gonna make like little lines down there. I'm going to make them a little more blue so that you can actually see there on the camera. I'm just blending them out a little bit. And then it also it can have something like this around. So I'm just using the tip of this brush. Now I'm just blending it a little bit. I mean, you can even put stuff up there. Play and have fun. No rules on this beach. Okay, get a smaller brush. You can use a small brush. This is like a eyeliner brush. I like to use these. They just take forever. This was too yellow, I think. No, you can still see it. And we're just gonna play around. That might be too dark. Maybe I just need a little bit of this, the sand color. I just need to lighten this up a little bit. It's too dark. And you don't want, we're still gonna go over this a little bit. We just want it to look like the darkness of the, too light. You almost want this to bleed a little bit, so maybe use more water. Because nobody writes perfect. And you can just put your initials here. You don't have to write the words. You can put, you could put A loves B. Okay, so I waited a little bit for this to dry. I mean, you can use a hair dryer or you can just use something and try and dry it a little bit. The white's still not totally dry, but that's okay. Now I'm gonna paint the ocean up there and then we're gonna just line it. So I'm just pulling it down a little bit so I can see better up there. For the ocean, I'm gonna use my blue. Maybe I'll just get a blob out there. That should be enough. And then I'm also going to use this green, if I can get any out of this bottle. Okay. And I'm going to use a big brush. And I'm going to use some white. Let's get some white on the plate. Okay, we have white on the plate. So I'm going to use, so I basically wanted dark over there, then I want a little bit of the green somewhere there, and then I want another dark line over here because of that blue. See how pretty that green and blue is. And then I want my water to come over my shoe yarn a little bit over there, and I don't want this edge to be too neat. So I am just gonna start with my darkest color up there. Try and get it right to the edge. And there I went on the strap. That's okay. I want the people to know this is hand painted. Maybe we'll just go around and paint this edge so I don't have to struggle with it later on. There we go. Doesn't matter if that's darker or not the same color. This is the ocean. You can totally tape your straps up there if you're scared you're gonna paint over them. That's maybe what I should have done. Should just tape them there and tape them over here. That way I don't need to worry that much. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a lot of paint here. I want it to be quite dark. We can always come lighten it up later on with some white. There's a little bit of white on my brush, I see. Now I'm gonna come in with this green. These colors change quickly. Now I'm just gonna do a mixture of the two, changing the color a little bit to more like a turquoise. Using more water now, so it's not so dark. Gonna put a little bit of white with it now. Took too much paint. I'm just gonna put some white over there. I'll work it in later. I just wanna get a dark spot out of the way. Okay. Now I'm just gonna pull it down a little bit more so I can see better. Just working the colors into each other. See, now that dark spot's kind of gone. I know it's still there. We will just make sure you can also use some of the base to lighten this up now. This color is too dark. Oh, that's a lot of base. It just blobbed out. Let's mix some color here. I'm gonna come over with using a lot of water now. You can either use white to lighten this up. Get some white in there. We're lightening it up now as we get to this edge here. Still don't want it to all just be one color, so I keep on. I don't totally mix my colors. Sometimes there's a little bit more green in it. It's water, yeah. I'm just trying to cover all of this where the white was before. Now we can also, you can come in with some white. I mean, we can just put in some little bit of waves there where that might be too much. And just soften it out, clean off your brush and just go over it. Also use your finger to soften it up. Maybe I don't like that so much. So I'm just going to use a clean finger and take that out of the way. Some darkness over here. Just going to work that away. So now you can just put white here, or you can make it look like it's coming over here. So I'm leaving my brush, like you might want to take a brush that's a little rougher. But I'm just going to use this one because I have it in my hands. And I am just going to come down here. And this is, and I'm just picking up some of that blue and I'm just softening that edge, bringing it over. And now I'm like making it look like it's coming over my shoe a little bit. Get some water on my brush. Just gonna get some more white here. You want this to, mine is split up like in two now. Let's try, I'm gonna try one of these brushes that are a little, like this one is very out of shape. Can you see? Very out of shape. So I'm just gonna use this one now. Because that one was like making lines over here. Okay, we want to soften this up. You could even put it like in a little bit of the blue here, just to bring a little bit of the water over. Okay, so now I need more white. This is my base. There we go, we got some white. I just want more of an edge there. So you can see I tip, 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 and then I take some of it off. Can rather come back again. I'm just putting it on the edge here. Sometimes it goes a little more and sometimes there's a little less. You just want this to be a little bit of a brighter white. Taking the other brush now. I think I fiddled enough, yeah. I mean, we can even put like a little bit of a highlight in there. I'm going to leave this alone for now. You can see over here, the sand still comes through a lot. Over here, the sand comes through a lot. Okay, so we're just going to move this up there. And I am going to, you can even like bring another one over here, but I'm not going to do it right now. So at least it looks a little bit like the water is going over that flip-flop and over the shell. So now you can come in with a liner and you can wait until it's totally dry and then use your oh my gosh, I'm losing my words. Just use a Sharpie if you're not 100% sure about using a liner brush. You can use black, you can use purple to outline it, you can use basically any color that's a little bit darker. I am looking for my black that I don't know where it is. Okay, found a very thick black, but I think it will work. Okay, so yeah, where the ocean is, you don't want to line too much because you don't want it to. So I'm basically, I need a lot of water with this. I'm just kind of putting a line a little bit, not everywhere. It's almost like a gray color now. It's not even totally black because you want your shell to just come through a little bit. Over here you can go darker. Get some more black up here. Maybe I should just go to a dry side of the shell would go down there. This one there. Come down here. Sorry, my paint is very dry. I need more water in it. The shell has something like this going around and these things. Then you can also do this, just to make it, give it a little bit more of a shape. Over here we want the gray color again, not so very dark. Okay, I think that's enough for the shell. And the itty teeny tiny one, I am going to use a little bit bigger brush so that we are not here for the whole day. Let's find one with a nice edge. I think this one will work good. So I like to line with a flat brush. I just feel like. And you don't have to do it everywhere. Sometimes I just put paint on the tip of the brush. For instance, if I want to go there, I'll just use the tip to go around. Or I'll use the little liner brush. I'm just going to come up here. Some over there. It doesn't need to be one solid line. It can just be a few little lines. See how there I'm just touching it a little bit. I don't want too much there. And that's my, oh, and I have to do this shell. Maybe I will use the little liner if I can find it. Little knobs. I'm not doing the, if you want to do the white, you can just, this is a lot of work, but just on the one side, like put a little shadow or like a little, like 1/4 of it, but just make sure it's all on the same side of the dot and not like, not all over the place. Okay, let's do this starfish. I'm not going to do this sun sand and flip-flops because then it almost becomes too dark. I just want it to look like that. I'm going to put my initials here. Okay, so for the starfish, I mean, we can do a little bit of white for him also, just to make him stand out a little bit. Let's put a tiny bit of white. a little bit more dimension. Now where my purple line was, I'm just trying to cover that. So I'm just, wherever I can see it, I'm putting a little bit of black, so it's not so obvious. And I can sit here for days and play. Sometimes you just need little dots. Sometimes we can put a little bit more dots, a little bit of a shadow. The sky's the limit. I hope you're enjoying the bag with me. The pattern is on my website.